Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our ongoing study in Gregory Palamas and the Holy Hesychia. And we are going to take a look at pages 55 to 70, and that will wrap up question 2, and we will begin question 3. Let's go to block 1 and take a look at the conclusive answer to question 2 on the mind-body question. Infallible circular motion. We seek the complete entry of the psyche within itself through circular contemplation, which is infallible circular motion, says Palamas. It's the circular movement of the nous. Therefore, we transition from motion of body in observation to motion of mind in interpretation. Motion of body plus motion of mind. We turn from external observation to the interiority of the heart, attending to the theosis of a disciplined mind, and negating the passions of the body. Therefore, infallible circular motion and motion of contemplative mind brings about Christ rising within us as illumination. Then the shadows are no longer dark. We reach theosis unification. We practice the practice of watchfulness, and we lean into the advice of the fathers who came before us. And by the way, Palamas leans heavily into Maximus. He really appreciated Maximus the Confessor, who we previously studied. He very much is aligned with Maximus. We will see that. But let's go to block 2, and now we introduce question 3. And remember, this is mystical theology, and therefore it follows the 5 categories of Maximus and his mystical theology. And remember, question 1 addressed the being of the soul. Question 2 addressed motion of the body. So question 3 is going to address the realm of positing. We follow that pattern of the mystical theology of Maximus, which Palamas entirely endorses, completely endorses. And it has matched up thus far, and it will in question 3 as well. So, block 2, question 3. Knowledge comes through spiritual positing and practice from the experience of life. This is illumination that was experienced at Mount Tabor at the transfiguration of Christ, through which we come to possess the simplicity of truth. Therefore, here's your question. Therefore, how is illumination received through the circular movement of positing and practice? Okay? It's the dialectic of positing and practice. 2, the realm of circular contemplation. First, we must take up the prayer of single thought. The question is framed here as a state of circular thinking through which the heart is able to leap unto transcendence, received as a sign of grace. So the realm of circular contemplation is the realm of transcendence. The question is framed within this possibility of transcendence. This will empower the reasoning psyche, because God transcends all illumination and fills the reasoning psyche, and this creates unified understanding. So this interiority of circular reasoning is a circular reasoning that brings about unified understanding, holistic understanding. The realm of positing is the realm of unified knowledge. This is where the question of illumination arises. The nous mind transcends itself and becomes angelic-like. It reaches supernatural vision of God. So this is truly a transcendent vision that we encounter in circular reasoning, circular contemplative reasoning within the realm of positing and practice. It's a seeing that is superior to negation. It is mystic in nature. It is a vision that is beyond concept. It is unnameable. And it is theosis, communion of spirit. It is unifying communion of spirit, theosis, communion of spirit. So we are very much on track of being aligned with the mystical theology given to the Eastern churches by Maximus, and Palamas endorses Maximus. Remember, he builds on the fathers. He already told us that. And now we get further confirmation by recognizing that question 3 is going to align with the third category in Maximus. That was the category of difference, the realm of positing difference. Well, for Palamas, it's the realm of circular reasoning of difference. Circular reasoning concerning the difference of the spiritual as opposed to the finite. Through circular contemplative reasoning, we perceive the spiritual behind the finite. So our question is framed there. How is illumination received through the circular movement of positing and practice? That brings us to the answer in block 3, the answer to question 3 on illumination. Purity and prayer. Contemplation brings us to the place of God. Very similar to Mount Sinai. It is purity in prayer. The light of God comes to our hearts, shining as divine knowledge, as the radiance of the psyche. We are illumined as radiance of the psyche from the light of the doxa glory of Jesus Christ. We are transformed from glory to glory in this contemplative circular reasoning. Maximus, here you go, I told you he endorses Maximus. Maximus tells us that it is God himself who illuminates us in the time of prayer, becoming practical as justice and mercy, which is the outside the time of prayer. Therefore, purity in prayer and radiance of psyche bring about the two circular steps of positing of prayer. Therefore, the new mind was created to see spiritually as the eye of the psyche through divine illumination. Now, key point. Circular contemplation of transcendence includes the following 4 steps. Here's your key to the third column in Palamas mystical theology, the column of positing difference. There are 4. Circular contemplation of transcendence includes 4 steps. We begin with an attitude of purity of prayer. Then the radiance of psyche unfolds in 2 ways. It is inward time and outward time. Inward time is that of unifying knowledge, where we put together that sign model of providence. Outward time is where we posit a practical praxis ministry of justice and mercy. So very important that we understand that there are 4 steps in this circular contemplative realm of difference, which he borrows from Maximus. He appreciates Maximus. And he is basically saying that the mystical theology of Maximus, I'm giving it a name. I'm calling it Hesychia. So St. Gregory Palamas is going to formally label and formally refine the mystical theology of Maximus, and he's going to call it Hesychia, inner stillness, the mystical theology of inner stillness, Hesychia. And so when we get to a summary lesson on Palamas, and we will have one, I'm going to wait till we complete question 5, because he's corresponding perfectly with Maximus. We'll wait till we get through question 5, but we will put together a summary to see how he is specifically and in a very concrete way shaping the mystical theology of Maximus by specifically calling it Hesychia, inner stillness, the inner stillness, and now we know it's the inner stillness of circular contemplative reasoning. The inner stillness of circular contemplative reasoning. Very important that we understand that. Remember, in Maximus, the third column was the most important. And the same holds true with Palamas. We are now into that column 3 in that realm of positing difference, but he calls it the realm of circular contemplative reasoning, where we receive the radiance of the psyche. And that radiance is a contemplative transcendence that unfolds as attitude of purity of prayer. And then the twofold unfolding as inward time and outward time. Inward time, that's that unifying knowledge where we pull everything together into a model of providence, a sign model of providence. But then it's got to go outward. It has to become practical for Palamas as justice and as mercy. Therefore, then it is posited outwardly for practical mission as a praxis of justice and mercy. So this is right on target for what we expected it to be. And I want to go through and just look at the underlined moments here in all 3 moments. Let's go to block 1, and we underlined block 1, note 3, infallible circular motion and motion of contemplative mind equals Christ rising within us as illumination. Now remember, this is the transition, this is the end of 2, motion of the body. So this is transitioning from that motion of body to motion of mind, okay? That's transition. Block 1 is a transition step. We're transitioning from motion of body to motion of contemplative mind. And then that takes us to block 2 when we move into that circular movement of contemplative mind. And there we underline block 2, note 2, the realm of circular contemplation. We must take up the prayer of single thought. The single thought of what? The providence of God, kingdom of God. The question is framed right here. The state of circular reasoning, the state of circular thinking. And then the heart is grasped and we leap in transcendence. Transcendence is discovered in the realm of positing difference, in the realm of circular reasoning of the nous mind. And then block 3, we underlined 3.3d. Circular contemplation of transcendence includes attitude of purity of prayer. Then, radiance of psyche unfolds in 2 ways, inward time and outward time. Inward time of unifying knowledge, outward time of positing practical ministry of justice and mercy. This is a powerful and critical lesson. We needed this lesson right here. We needed this because we transitioned from column 2 to column 3 because we got to remember here, block 3, note 2, subpoint C. Who's he mentioning? Maximus the Confessor. Gregory Palamas is very much influenced by, very much grounded in the mystical theology of Maximus the Confessor. And he is not deviating from that, he is adding concrete content to mystical theology, and he even gives it a name. Mystical theology has the name of Hesychia. It now has a name. Palamas says spiritual, mystical theology is Hesychia. It is the inner stillness of circular reasoning. It is Hesychia, the definition, the inner stillness of circular reasoning. The inner stillness of circular reasoning. And so he is very much in alignment with, in block 1, with motion of body transitioning to motion of mind. And then block 2, he jumps into that 3rd column of realm of positing. He calls it positing and practice, but it's circular movement for him. It's the realm of circular movement. It's the realm of circular contemplative movement. And then block 3, we have the specific 4-point conclusion. Basically, realizing that the realm of positing and practice is a twofold realm of inward time and outward time. There's inward time of shaping a sign model of providence. There's outward time, because remember that realm of circular contemplative reasoning, it is not subjectivity, it is not objectivity, it's hinge moment. Remember, it's a hinge that swings between subjectivity and objectivity. It's a hinge moment that swings between, let's use his terms, it's a hinge moment that swings between inward time and outward time. It's the hinge moment swinging between inward time of circular contemplative meditation to the outward time of practical praxis ministry of justice and mercy. Beautiful and powerful lesson. I really appreciate this lesson, and now we know, we have it in print here in pages 55 to 70. He tells us, I'm following Maximus. He tells us concretely, Maximus tells us, quote, Maximus tells us, he is very aware of the mystical theology of Maximus, and he is now giving his concrete rendition of that mystical theology as Hesychia, circular reasoning. The inner circular reasoning of Hesychia. That's going to wrap up lesson 3, that's pages 55 to 70. We'll pick up next time on page 71.